3, 2, 1, go. Good evening and welcome to the Edmond North Wrestling Awards Banquet for 2019-2020, the virtual edition. My name is Andy Schneider. I'm the head wrestling coach at Edmond North Wrestling. This is my 22nd year with Edmond North Wrestling, my 11th year as the head coach. I can tell you I never would have thought I'd be doing the awards banquet sitting at my kitchen table, filming myself, so pretty awkward. But at the same time, I know this is a very important part of the season. One of my favorite parts of the season is to recap all the accomplishments these young men and women have had over the season, and also to give a farewell to our seniors who are on to bigger and better things. So we will kind of go through this, a little shortened version. It won't be quite as elaborate as the usual in-person version, but we'll start out just like normal, though. I'm going to thank some people who made this season a success. We do have a booster club that's specific just to our wrestling program. It's free to join. We do have elected officers, though. Our president was Kent Bowman, vice president Pete Hatton, our treasurer was Dave Mason, and our secretary is Marcy Chavez. So thank you all for being board members this past season. Some other specific families and people I'd like to mention are the Randalls for taking care of our team packs and the meals after weigh-ins. I know the boys appreciated that. Our concession stand coordinator, Janice Skinner. And then our all-around helper with apparel sales, fundraisers, concessions, Rebecca Weddle. So thank you. And thank you really to all of the parents for your help and support all the way through the season. Especially with our beginning of the year tournament. We have a CJS tournament, the Colton Schneider Memorial Tournament every year, the first Saturday of November. So that could not be a success. It could not even be run without the parent support because the boys are wrestling. So I know several of you pitched in to help. We have parents that come back. I know Vonda McCoy helps every single year, comes back. Her son graduated a few years ago, as does Amy Baker. As does Jennifer Walker. Jennifer Walker is in charge of our Colton Schneider Memorial Scholarship Fund, and we'll talk more about that later. So I appreciate all the help of the current parents and former parents of making the season and especially that tournament a success every year. I'd also like to thank the coaching staffs. Our junior high coaching staff, they just finished a perfect season. They won every single dual meet this past season, our junior high team did. They won the Shawnee Dual Tournament, which is the equivalent to Dual State for junior high. They won the Perry Junior High Tournament of Champions. And then the most prestigious junior high tournament in the state and probably the nation is the Edmond Junior High Tournament. It's been going on since 1942. And our junior high team this past season won that by 1/2 point. So kudos and congratulations to the staff there. The staff there is Larry Tettleton. Larry Tettleton's the head junior high coach. He's been with the Edmond North Wrestling program since it first started. And his assistants were Evan Chatta and a former wrestler, Jackson McCoy. So thank you very much to that coaching staff there. I'd also like to thank our high school wrestling coaching staff. Our assistants, David James. David James, this was his third season with the program. Lucky to have David James. He's won about every award you could as a coach. Excuse me. I think he's in every Hall of Fame there is possible for wrestling. Excuse me. Along with being a national champion himself, he's coached countless national champions, All-Americans. He's coached 12 national championship teams. So to have him in the room is a huge blessing, not just for his wrestling accolades, but he's a great person as well. So for your boys to have him as a role model is definitely a blessing. And then new to our staff this past season was Coach Mike Arnold. Mike Arnold is formerly from Edmond. His boys wrestled for the junior high program, and then he moved away to the D.C. area, Virginia area. His boys went on and wrestled there. He helped coach their teams. They went on and wrestled college. He helped coach at the college level, and now he's back helping us. So his expertise coaching high school, college, and he was a former All-American as well. So we're definitely blessed with the amount of knowledge that our coaching staff has. And then I'd be remiss not to mention another group of people who definitely need to be thanked, and that's the coaches' wives. During the wrestling season, I know sometimes they feel like single moms or single wives, single women. So I'd like to thank Cindy Tettleton, Amy Chetta, Allison McCoy, Susan Arnold, Cherry James, and of course my wife Angie Schneider. So congratulations, by the way, to Evan Chetta and Amy Chetta for getting married this past weekend. And also getting married just after the wrestling season finished was Jackson McCoy and Allison McCoy. So, which is kind of neat that those two women, Amy and Allison, decided to marry Jackson and Evan even after being through a wrestling season. So that's a great test before getting actually married. Okay. Let's move on to some individual awards. So these awards that I'm going to go over tonight, they can all be picked up before school starts. School starts August 20th. Before school starts, you can actually come to my house. My house is, the address is 1800 Timber Ridge Road. 1800 Timber Ridge Road, Edmond, Oklahoma. Probably should have had it up there to the sheet, but I don't. And you can pick up just let me know you're coming. You text me or call me, and I will have the award for your son or daughter to give to you here at my house. Or after August 20th, when school starts, I will take all the awards to the school, and you can pick them up there at the end of the day. So our school day ends at 4 o'clock now. So at 4 o'clock, well, ends at 3:55 p.m. Come to the school at 4 o'clock. You'll have to stay outside because of the new rules with the virus. Let me know you're there, and I'll bring out the award for your son or daughter. So again, all these awards can be picked up at those times. Before we go over the awards, I'll just do a quick recap of the season. This past season, our high school team finished 10-3 in dual meets. They won the city championship for the 19th year in a row. A very exciting match. It came down to the last match, and we got a good call by the referee, so made it 19 in a row this year. Our team also won the district for the 12th year in a row to qualify for dual state. Won the quarterfinals at dual state over Tulsa Union and lost in the semifinals to Broken Arrow. And they were the eventual champion, actually. So, a good dual season. Tournament-wise, finished 4th at the Mid-American Nationals as a team. Finished 19th at Kansas City Stampede out of 40 teams. Finished 9th at the Gary Tournament. 3rd at the Conference Tournament. 4th at the Yukon Tournament. 3rd at the Regional Tournament. And 13th at the State Tournament. All of these team stats and information can be found at edmondnorthwrestling.com. So every single season is logged into the website, along with individual awards, team awards. There's a dream team on there. So again, if you're bored, you want to go to Wrestling Site and look around, edmondnorthwrestling.com has the entire history of our junior high and high school programs, both there. So that's a recap of the season. I'm not going to actually go through all the letter awards. I'm just going to go through our seniors. Our seniors, along with receiving their letter awards, they will receive a special Edmond North watch if they didn't play football. If they played football, then they got their watch with football. Otherwise, they'll be able to pick up their watch at the school. I don't have those here at my house right now. So I'm going to go through just only the letter awards for the seniors only. So our first senior, Connor McBride. I did have a little app where I hit a button and it would clap like we were there in person, but I thought after 14 times hitting that button it would get annoying, so I elected to go without that. Next senior, David Hatton. Colin Hendricks. Josh Parks. Morgan Maggard. Josh Vasquez, Cody Carroll, Jordan Wichiku, Joshua Lasau, Nate Becker, Trey Bowman, and Christian Cantu. So a lot of seniors. I think we had 12 seniors who graduated. These seniors, along with getting the watch, our booster club also bought a special banner for each of them. So some of them have already picked up the banner at my house. That's another thing the seniors can come and pick up. as kind of just a token of gratitude for being part of our program, is their senior banner. The next set of awards came directly from the OSSA, the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activities Association. These were just for the state qualifiers. So these awards came for them. They're certificate awards. So we had 11 state qualifiers, so I am going to go through those because I think that's quite an achievement to qualify for the 6A state tournament. First qualifier, Garrett McBride. Aiden Godby here. Nate Becker. Josh Parks, Austin Mason, Jackson Randall, Ethan Uten, Trey Bowman, Braden Bowman, Gabe Mullaney, and Christian Cantu. So that was 11 state qualifiers out of just 14 weight classes. That actually tied for the most state qualifiers in school history, tied with the 2002 and the 2017 team. So congratulations to the state qualifiers. Next, I would like to go into some certificates for a group of people who are kind of our behind-the-scenes group that don't always get thanked very much or get much recognition, but we definitely are thankful for all the work that they do. They take care of videoing the matches, which includes taking all the stats. Every stat that's taken, every takedown that's recorded is done by these girls, and every video that's taken is done by these girls. They also stay during practice, help the boys wrapping hurt thumbs and fingers, ankles, and also stay after mop mats. So definitely a thankless job, but we definitely appreciate them. Our first senior manager is Morgan Maggard. Then we have Avery Brewer, who also doubled as a trainer and a manager. Sydney Rath, again doubling as a trainer and a manager. They were all seniors. All three of those young ladies were seniors. And then Jadalyn Morris was a junior. So thank you, ladies, for your service this year. Okay. Our next couple awards are stat awards. The two main stats. The first stat that we really look at to be a successful wrestler, you got to be able to take the other wrestler down. So the leader in takedowns, we always like to recognize. The leader this year for the most takedowns in the team had 116 takedowns for the season was Jackson Randall. And then the goal of a wrestling match, I always tell the guys, what's the goal? And some of them answer it's to win the match or to score more points or whatever it is. But really the goal is to pin the opponent. So our leader in pins this past season was Gabe Mullaney with 22 falls or 22 pins. Congratulations. The next awards are Outstanding Performance Certificate Awards. These are for specific performances that I thought these wrestlers just achieved something just above and beyond. And I thought it's important to recognize them for that. This first one actually goes to a young lady. This past season in the state of Oklahoma, was the first year they had an exhibition wrestling season for girls. This next season, it's actually going to be an officially sanctioned sport. Unfortunately, we only had one girl that wanted it. In the whole school, 2,600 students, we had one girl, high school girl, that was willing to come out and actually wrestle. And it was actually one of our managers. She switched over from being a manager to a wrestler. Her name was Morgan Maggard. And in one of the preseason tournaments, she wrestled 5 matches in the same day, all in one day, and won all 5 matches to be crowned the pre-Turkey tournament champion, Morgan Maggard. Congratulations. The next Outstanding Performance Awards go to a group of freshmen, and I always like it when freshmen are ready to go at the high school level. I think that's a testament to how well our our junior high coaches do at preparing them and getting them ready for that next level. So this first award goes to a freshman who went to 2 tournaments, high school level tournaments, and took first at both of them. So outstanding job, Cannon Futrell, winning the PCO and Kingfisher tournaments. Another freshman who won a high school level tournament was Jose Sanchez. And then this last freshman award for outstanding performance goes to a freshman who made the varsity lineup for some of the year. Again, another difficult task. And he actually made it right off the bat. First of the year, he was in the varsity lineup. And in the first duel of the year, opening part of the regular season, he was in a match. He found himself in an overtime match that went to double overtime. And when he scored the winning takedown, it was amazing to watch. There were pictures of our bench, I think they're on Facebook, jumping up and down right when he scores that takedown. It really, I know it was a great way for him to enter or begin his high school wrestling career in the varsity lineup. Hayden Flaherty, outstanding performance in the Guthrie duel. Next, individual performance awards go to a group of sophomores. The first one was a varsity wrestler as a sophomore. And in the Choctaw duel, he faced an opponent that had beat him before, actually just the week before. And they were the first match out of the gate in the Choctaw duel on senior night, big match. And he not only won the match, he pinned his opponent from Choctaw that he'd lost to before, Garrett McBride. This next sophomore entered the varsity lineup. Our starter actually broke his arm, and it's the next guy up. I always say that you're just one injury away from being a starter on our team if you're a JV wrestler, and that's exactly what this wrestler was. He was ready to go. He jumped into the lineup. The night we had district duels. So on district duels, we have to win all 3 duels to qualify for dual state. And he won all 3 of his individual matches that night. His first time in the varsity lineup, Bo Dolph. Also that same night, another sophomore. We had a young group that night. We had some people filling in, but he was in the varsity lineup all year as a sophomore, and he won all 3 of his matches at district duels. Is Aiden Little. And then not to be outdone, our other sophomore that wrestled that same night, we put him in the lineup against Lawton, his first varsity action at the high school level, and he came out with a win against Lawton, Jarrett Whitefield. These last 2 sophomores, they actually, their award, there's a couple more, but there's a tournament called the JV State Tournament. It happened for a long, long time, then it was canceled. It came back 2 years ago, and our team won it. This past season, they had the tournament again, but they stopped having team points because we would have won it again as a team. But they still gave away individual awards. So individually, several of our wrestlers did very well. The first one, this sophomore, won the tournament, Tegan LeBlanc. Went undefeated, was a JV state champion. And also another sophomore doing the same was Daxton DeFrange. So congratulations to those JV state champions. The last sophomore award goes to another varsity wrestler who actually was not part of our team last year. He wrestled for Edmond Santa Fe and then kind of moved over to Edmond North. And his first stint in the varsity lineup, he got a big win over Deer Creek. So it was good to see him in the right colored singlet, a blue singlet. Winning against Deer Creek was Aiden Godby here. These next performance awards go to some juniors. This next junior, unfortunately, his season was cut short right when he was really starting to peak. He broke his arm in the Mustang duel. But before that, he was really on track to have a great ending to the season. He started off in the right way. He made the varsity lineup, had a big match, his first varsity duel against Guthrie with a big win there. So we want to recognize Cade Ballard for a big win when he was actually healthy. Next junior, he had an outstanding match against Choctaw. Again, another night during that same Choctaw duel I talked about earlier. This wrestler, Austin Mason, he was facing an opponent that he got beat by before, and he won. He not only won, he won convincingly that night. And as coaches, we always love to see that. We know we're headed in the right direction when we can beat people that we lost to earlier in the year. So Austin Mason showed that night with a big win. Same kind of story goes for this next junior, but this was in the Yukon Duel. The Yukon Duel is our annual Schneider Bowl duel, which we did win as a team. This match, though, came late in the duel. We had already sealed up the win. We won the duel 43-22. So the duel meet was over. There's no way they could win, but this match still mattered to this individual. He was wrestling against a wrestler he lost to in the past, and then he came out with a big win. In fact, it was a 1-to-1 match, and he probably had one of the best highlight reel takedowns of the season when he got the takedown to win that match. As I said earlier, we had 11 state qualifiers this past season, which is outstanding, but we did only have one regional champion. So I thought that was outstanding to win the regional tournament. Want to recognize this individual for coming away with 3 big wins that day, Braden Bowman. This next award is actually not for a specific performance, it's for his entire season. This wrestler was not a starter, but a lot of times at tournaments we're allowed to take non-starters. And they can wrestle and get medals just like the starter does. So this wrestler, sometimes we would take him to a JV tournament, sometimes we would take him to a varsity tournament. And what was amazing, he always found his way to make it to the podium. He got a medal at every single tournament we took him to. It didn't matter if it was JV or a varsity tournament. Luckily, he's just a junior, so we're looking for him to be full-time in the varsity lineup this year. But our outstanding non-starter, I like to call him that instead of just JV, was Jackson Lister. Our last junior to get an outstanding performance, this was not for one match either. It was actually for a set of 3 matches. And what's great is they came at the end of the season. We love to have our guys peak and do their best wrestling at the end. And that's what this wrestler did. He started out at the regional tournament. To qualify for the state tournament, he had to first start out and wrestle a wrestler from Memorial, who he had lost to in the duel. He won that match. Then he had to wrestle against a wrestler from PCO, who he had lost to in a tournament early in the year. He won that match. And then he finally, at the state tournament, he had to wrestle a wrestler from Union, who he'd lost to in the past, and he won that match. So for his final week wins, outstanding performance goes to Ethan Uten. Great job. All right, our last set of performance awards goes to some seniors. This first one came to a wrestler who he was actually going up a weight class. He was a wet wrestler. He had to weigh. Most wrestlers are trying to lose weight before the weigh-in. This wrestler's always trying to gain weight. So he's moving up a weight class. And at the Gary tournament, it's a blind draw. And he drew a wrestler from Tuttle who was actually coming down a weight class. So it was the 220 weight class. The wrestler from Tuttle was coming down from heavyweight. Our guy was going up from about 180 pounds to 220. So he drew this wrestler from Tuttle first match of the tournament. This wrestler was a defending state champion from Tuttle. Found himself in a close, tight match. That wrestler chose the down position. Our wrestler, he has some funky moves he can do, and he did a move called the banana splits to pin the defending state champion from Tuttle. So outstanding performance there goes to Christian Cantu. Another outstanding performance at the Gary tournament came up to another senior, actually our only finalist at that tournament. And to make the finals, he had to wrestle a defending state champion from another state. And this is a match that went into all the overtimes there are. There's one regular overtime, then there's a second overtime, a third overtime, and then an ultimate overtime. And this wrestler won. When he won, obviously the other wrestler wasn't happy. Not only not happy, ran off. The other wrestler ran off, started punching some lockers somewhere. And our wrestler just kind of shrugged his shoulders and let the referee raise his hand. So outstanding performance at the Gary tournament goes to Jordan Wichiku. This next senior had an outstanding performance, and I call it a namesake match. He had wrestled this wrestler from Mustang several times during the year, and I think it was tied when it went into this match. They'd won, the other one had won, one had won. And what's even better, not only was it tied, they both had the same last name. His last name, McBride. It was Connor McBride. I forget the last name of their guy, but I know it was the first name I forget. His last name was McBride. So basically, it was a namesake match, and they wrestled each other in the Mustang duel the final time, and Connor came out the winner there. Similar situation happened at the regional tournament with this next wrestler. He'd wrestled this wrestler from Choctaw several times and lost very close matches, going even back to last year, but finally was able to turn the tide and win at the regional tournament. So outstanding performance at the regional tournament versus Choctaw goes to Trey Bowman. Our last certificate award goes to a wrestler who was not a starter. In fact, it wasn't even a specific performance I wanted to outline or highlight of him. It was just the fact that he stayed on the team, even when he didn't make the varsity lineup, and he was there every day, kept making the varsity guy better, filled an important niche. You know, in wrestling, you need a partner that makes you better, and he definitely filled that niche and helped the team become as successful as they were. So I called him the practice room warrior, senior Colin Hendricks. So that concludes our performance awards. Now we'll move on to some plaque awards. I'm actually going to start with another stat award. This next stat is for an award we call the Leader of the Pack. So the Leader of the Pack is a program that it kind of quantifies or puts a number to effort. So starting in the spring before the season, we start adding up these points for various things. Things like going to freestyle tournaments or Greco tournaments. Things like going to camps on your own, going to team camp. Things like for what you do in the weight room, so your weight room improvements. Running, for what you do running-wise. Practice attendance. All those things factor in, and what it does, it calculates points at the end of the season. Whoever has the most points, statistically, is called our Leader of the Pack. So this past season, the winner had 224 points. Put this here. It was Austin Mason. I think you can see that maybe. A pretty cool award. Leader of the Pack, Austin Mason. All right, the next set of plaque awards are called our Husky Awards, and our Husky Award is basically it says for dedication and commitment to themselves and to the team. So this first Husky Award, I have several of these, goes to a young lady who I explained earlier. She was our only female wrestler on the team. So being our only female wrestler, most teams have more than one female wrestler, and they just work out with each other. The girls wrestle the girls. We didn't have that luxury. So our girl had to wrestle boys every day, and it was brutal. All season long, I don't know how she kept a boyfriend because her face was bruised all season long, arms bruised, legs bruised, but made her a tougher wrestler. As I said, she was the pre-Turkey tournament champion. She was also at the Kansas City tournament. It was a national level tournament. They had a girls division, and she was a medalist there. She was a senior. She's going to go on and just go to college, which is great, and I know she'll be successful. But after this one season in wrestling, I had 5 or 6 different women's college programs that wanted to recruit her to come wrestle for their women's program. So Husky Award winner, Morgan Maggard. This next Husky Award goes to another senior who, again, did not make our lineup. I know he had his mind and his eyes set on making the varsity lineup as a senior. He'd been in their program a long time. And when he didn't make the lineup, I thought, well, he might just say, Coach, I'm going to be done with wrestling and just enjoy my senior year. But he didn't. He stayed on the team. He stayed as a contributor, stayed as a workout partner, a leader, just in the kind of person he was. He finished with 49 career wins, 35 career falls, 67 career takedowns. Husky Award winner, Joshua LaSalle. The next Husky Award winner goes to another senior who was our mainstay at the heavyweight weight class these past 2 seasons. I explained earlier he was a Gary tournament finalist. He was the guy that was always there at practice. Didn't have a car. He actually walked to practice every day. One time I actually caught him walking to practice in the wintertime in bare feet. I didn't understand why, but he told me he didn't want to walk in his wrestling shoes. And I said, just put on your other shoes, Jordan. But anyway, Great, outstanding young man. He's going to go on and be a throw shot. He got a scholarship to throw the shot put at Oklahoma City University. So Jordan Wichiku is our other Husky Award winner. Next Husky Award winner for dedication and commitment goes to a wrestler who started the season, again, not in the varsity lineup, but definitely willed his way there with hard work. Obviously, every sport preaches hard work. It's not any more evident or important as it is in the sport of wrestling. And this wrestler was willing to do whatever it took. He stayed after every single day. Several wrestlers stayed after a few times a week. He stayed after every single day. And it paid off. He not only entered our varsity lineup, he qualified for the state tournament in his first year in the varsity lineup. He's just a junior, so we look for him to build on that this next year. So Ethan Uten is our Husky Award winner. Oh, that wasn't good. This next Husky Award winner goes to a wrestler who's been in our program a long time. Just became a 3-time state qualifier. Fun wrestler to watch wrestle. Great human being. He's the kind of kid that's always there helping out. If the mats need rolled up, he's there. He doesn't run off and try to steer away from any hard work. He faces it head on, and I know that's going to make him successful in life. 3-time state qualifier, Husky Award winner, Trey Bowman. And our final Husky Award winner is a 4-year starter, 4-time state qualifier, state placer. He was also named to the All-State wrestling team for Oklahoma this past spring. He had his senior year, he was actually kind of banged up, and they thought he was going to have surgery and end his career halfway through the season, but he forewent the surgery, finished his season, and still qualified for the state tournament as a senior, and earned the Husky Award, Nate Becker. So congratulations to all those Husky Award winners. Again, these are all awards that can be picked up either here at my house or at the school after August 20th. All right, a few more awards I'd like to hand out. The next couple go to our team leaders. So these are guys that just not only had that dedication and commitment for themselves, but, also had a big dedication and commitment to the team as well. They put the team ahead of their own needs, in fact, sometimes. This first team leader award goes to a young man who I almost consider like an extra coach. He led all of our warm-ups. If the team was kind of spreading out, straggling, needed to be rolled back in or pulled back in, he was able to do that just as a junior, so he'll still be in our program one more year. But he did a great job as a leader, as a junior. He was also a state qualifier. He was a regional champion and a conference champion. And still with those individual accolades, able to look out for the team even above his own needs sometimes. So our team leader award for this season goes to Braden Bowman. Our second team leader award goes to a team leader who had kind of a different way of leading. He was able to kind of crack the joke and break the tension sometimes when someone needed like something funny to say, because wrestling's kind of a serious sport, and sometimes you just need to kind of relax a little bit. And he was definitely good at not only doing that himself as an individual, but also to get the team to kind of relax and perform at their best. Along with that, he was also one that put his own needs secondary to the team needs. In fact, I mentioned earlier, he would have to gain weight to get to the right weight class. So instead of wrestling the weight he was, the team needed him at 220 pounds. He only weighed 180. So before the weigh-ins, most wrestlers are putting sweats on and trying to sweat off that last bit of water. I would hand him water bottles and make him drink and drink and drink and drink until he weighed enough to wrestle in the 220-pound weight class. And he was on board with doing that because it made the team better. Not only that, he actually individually achieved. He was a 2-time state qualifier. And our team leader, Christian Cantu. Christian was also named to the All-State team for Oklahoma. So the All-State wrestler as well. The next award goes to our most improved wrestler. And most years, that's kind of a tough thing to find out because so many wrestlers achieve so much and improve so much during the season. This year, it was easy. It really was. This wrestler started the year as a JV wrestler, and we took him as an extra to a national tournament in Kansas City, the Kansas City Stampede, and he actually medaled at the Kansas City Stampede. At that time, the coaches, we looked at each other and said, we need to get this guy in the varsity lineup. So we found him a spot, a weight class that would fit him. He went on not to only win several matches, but he actually qualified for the state tournament. Then he went on to win in the consolation semifinals, then the consolation finals, and take third place in the state of Oklahoma as a junior. The match he won, he actually beat a wrestler who he'd lost to before, 2 times. So great way to finish the season, getting a state medal. Our most improved wrestler, Gabe Mullaney. All right, this last award goes to our outstanding wrestler. This is a wrestler that I could have probably had 10 different certificate awards for the things that he achieved during the season. Placed at every single tournament. He was there at every practice. And his placements were because of that. His work ethic, he got the extra workouts in. And definitely in the way he wrestled and just practiced hard every day was a role model to the young wrestlers. He was just a sophomore this year. What I love probably most is how he finished the season and what he did. I explained earlier that my favorite things as a wrestler is to win against wrestlers you've lost to in the past. And this wrestler found himself on the backside of the bracket at the state tournament. And he had to beat 2 wrestlers he lost to before he did that. So he won against a wrestler from Memorial who he'd lost to already twice. 2 times he lost to him. A week before he lost the Broken Arrow wrestler, he beat him. Which actually qualified him to win a medal at the state tournament, but he wasn't content with that. His match for third place at the state tournament was against the defending state runner-up, and he won that match as well. So took third place at the state tournament, now a 2-time state placer, and our 2019-2020 outstanding wrestler, Jackson Randall. Congratulations, Jackson. All right, the final names I'd like to just mention and conclude tonight. I mentioned earlier we have a CJS tournament at the beginning of the season, Colton Joseph Schneider Memorial Tournament. There is a scholarship that's linked to that tournament. Each year that's a $1,500 or $1,500 scholarship. This year there were actually 2 applicants that tied for the win. So out of our applicants. So I'm going to name those 2 wrestlers right now. They will contact me and I can get them the award, and that will go to their tuition whenever they enroll. So the 2 wrestlers that won the CJS scholarship this year are Christian Cantu and Nate Becker. Congratulations to those 2 young men. This concludes our virtual awards banquet. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. I know this is not what any of us planned to have happen, but we adapt and move on. That's what we do as people and wrestlers. So congratulations to all those wrestlers, especially the seniors moving on. Thank you very much. Good night.